on this computer. So this is Robert's Rules and Open Meeting Law in Nevada.
What does it mean for me when you say I have to follow Robert's Rules of Order in a meeting?
Don't let it intimidate you. It simply means that we have to be polite by following some common ground rules and language so our meetings stay on track. One example of what that means is the chair decides who can speak and when. Unless you feel the conversation has gone off topic, you should always wait to be called on.
So during the meeting, I would raise my hand either virtually or physically, depending on how I am participating, right?
Yes. If you're either a board member or an invited guest speaker on the agenda, you would raise your hand and wait for the chair to call on you. If you're not on the agenda or are a member of the public, you have to wait for public comment. It's up to the chair if an additional period of public comment is incorporated, but the public doesn't typically participate during board business while discussing agenda items.
What happens if the conversation goes off topic or if I don't understand something?
Calling a point of order is a way to interrupt without being called on if there's a good reason to do so. A couple of examples of good reasons when you need to ask for clarification or if the discussion has clearly gone off the agenda's topic.
Thanks. I guess I am a little nervous I will make a mistake.
Don't worry. Most people feel that way at first. Once you've been through a few meetings, it'll be easier to remember Robert's rules. And if there are staff, you can ask questions. And if you can't find the answer, I'm always willing to find an answer for a board member if I don't know the answer too. No one expects you to be an expert right away, but it's important to at least know when you can and can't speak when you're starting out.
Where can I find more information about Robert's Rules of Order so I can learn more?
Well, I often reference a document called Robert's Rules of Order, the basics, which says the basic principles are all members have equal rights, privileges, and obligations. No person can speak until recognized by the chair. Personal remarks during debate are out of order. Only one question at a time may be considered, and only one person may have the floor at any one time. Members have a right to know what the immediately pending question is and to have it restated before a vote is taken. Full and free discussion of every main motion is a basic right. A quorum must be present for business to be conducted. A majority decides the question except when the basic rights of members are involved or a rule provides otherwise. A 2/3 vote is required for any motion that deprives a member of a right in any way. An example is like if you cut off a debate. Silence gives consent. Those who do not vote allow the decision to be made by those who do vote. The chair should always remain impartial. Something else to remember is a motion is a formal proposal made to bring a subject before an assembly for its consideration and action on the agenda item that requires an action. And they typically begin with, I move that. And then a second to the motion is needed before any further discussion or vote is, and that's a statement by a member who agrees that the motion made by another member be considered. And that's most often stated as second, or I second the motion. A majority vote is needed for most actions on the board, but 2/3 of majority is needed for special circumstances, like when a member moves to change the rules for any reason. Your staff can also provide information about where to obtain the latest information on Robert's Rules online as well.
Thank you. It means a lot to me that I can ask you or another staff member if I have questions moving forward. Does Nevada's open meeting law affect me at all now that I'm a member of a council? And if so, how?
That's a great question. The most important thing to remember as a regular member is that a meeting must be accessible. If you have a need for an accommodation like sign language interpreters or captioning, you'll need to request it in advance. Open meeting law requires that agendas and materials be made available to the public. So don't forget though that there's a lot that goes into planning a meeting. So be sure to ask far enough in advance that your request can be reasonably accommodated. If you ask for an interpreter 3 days before a meeting, there may not be any available on such short notice. Never assume your accommodation needs will be provided without a special request. Another piece of open meeting law that members need to know is that any council business must be made public unless there's an attorney-client privilege in place, or if it's to address the personal conduct or misconduct of a member. That means you can't do any council business outside of public meetings. You can converse outside of meetings, but all council business and decisions should be made while the public can observe. There's a quick reference guide available on the Silk website under resources and trainings to help give you the basics. But staff can always reach out to the Deputy Attorney General's office for assistance when needed.
How long did it take? I guess the